All right, welcome to another episode of the Pinpoint Investor podcast with Faisal Morsi. I'm excited for this next guest, Wesley Knightstep. I've known Wes for about 4 or 5 years now. When I was actually longer than that, man, Jesus. When I was first getting started in this business, I met Wes and Daniel. They were actually contractors at the time. I think that I don't even know if you guys had done any flips or any investment properties, but you came to give us a quote on a property that we were JVing on, me and a partner of mine at the time. So, man, I'm glad we can finally connect on this. I've been looking forward to this podcast for a while. Appreciate you being on, man.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, it was crazy. I think it was your first deal. It was our first contracting appointment, I think, too. So started at the same time was is wild.
Nice, that's amazing. What's funny is like I remember my coach at the time. When you guys pulled up, you had like a nice truck. He's like, "Yeah, they're gonna be too expensive. You're not going with that."
You're probably right.
And this was a guy that like taught us how to get people off Craigslist. So you understand his mindset, you know?
Yeah, I ain't competing with them.
Yeah, not at all. All right, so give me an idea. Like how did you get started in this business and where are you at now in your business?
Yeah, so we started early on. We did a couple of flips and then we realized we were pretty good at the whole contracting thing. That's my background. We're building new construction houses. Met Daniel about 4 or 5 years ago. And he was flipping some houses. He was flipping them in high school. So I was like, I got to meet this kid. He understands like the underwriting portion of the business. And I had some money saved up and I had some construction connects. So I was like, let me go ahead and see if he wants to partner on a couple flips. So we did a flip and then we realized that there was pretty large margins in contracting. So we started getting into that a little bit. He was looking for some money. He was a college guy. I was looking to get out of my 9 to 5 grind. So we were looking to just make money as fast as we could to get out of those things so we could do all of this stuff full time. And we realized our conversion rate was pretty damn good as contractors with like residential kitchens and bathrooms and roofing and stuff like that. So I heard he started telling me about wholesaling. And then one of our mentors was talking about wholesaling, and I'm like, man, is this legal? So I started doing some research. And then I told D, I'm like, man, let's get into wholesaling. He's like, I tried it before. He's like, it's a grind. I don't know if it's something that you would end up liking. So I was like, screw it, let's try it. And then we found out that we are really good at it. We've been at it now, I think this is our fourth year, and we're looking at probably about 4.5 million this year in revenue.
Amazing. So one thing that like I knew you guys were gonna be successful off the bat. I thought it was mainly going to be in flipping, because the fact that you had that like new construction background, you're a project manager, and like when I saw your hustle and Daniel's hustle like combined, I was like, these guys are going to be a force to mess with. But I think, and this is just from the outside looking in, I think the biggest separator that you guys do is that you guys are constantly investing in coaching and mentors and just learning. And I think for a lot of people, once they find a little bit of success, and me included, you stop that journey of learning because you feel like maybe there's like complacency there. So what is it that like what are you investing in, and like why do you feel that like coaching is like important even at the stage you're at now?
Yeah, so there's always levels, in my opinion, to coaching. Like when we first got started, we obviously wanted a mentor or coach that is doing what we are looking to do. And then also somebody that kind of fits our personalities. We kind of had a coach at first that was really dead set on systems and processes, which was great. And it definitely got us to not make the same mistakes that they would have made, starting out. So it fast tracked us to success. And then after that, we got a mentor that kind of fit our swagger when it came to sales. So we helped, with the sales process. We added our own flavor to it. And the reason I say there's like levels to coaching is now we have employees. We do a lot of what we do to make sure our employees are being fed and that they're successful in any way we can. So we just got done with another coaching program on leadership. So there's always coaching to be had. So when you start out, you want to learn what you're doing. and trying to consolidate the headaches and the problems that you're going to run into, and have somebody that's going to help you get over that without losing a bunch of money trying to solve it yourself, to then at a point where leadership becomes a factor and you want to grow as an organization. Back to what you were saying on flipping. I mean, we got into flipping heavily. We were flipping about 18 houses a month, so it was crazy. We just saw it as it's very lucrative, but at the same time, it's not scalable. In my opinion, it's just because there's nowhere you would have to have an insane hiring process and employees to be able to catch all the moving parts. So you need somebody that knows lending, and you got to find the deal, and then you got to execute the deal, and then project management and materials and bookkeeping. So you make a lot of money, then you spend a lot of money, then you make a lot of money. So it's never like a consistent let's make money. It's always kind of a roller coaster ride, especially depending on like a market type situation.
And so you went from exclusively flipping to now exclusively wholesaling?
Yeah, I'd say about 90% of what we do is all assignments. We're keeping some more now. And we do have that casual flip that just makes sense. We knock it out in 2 weeks, 3 weeks, we're right back on the market. So we like assignments, man. We're really good at it. We JV'd on a couple of deals with you, so we got great relationship with buyers, even better relationship with sellers. So we're doing it at a high level with very low fallout, which that's the bad rap that wholesaling gets, is guys lock stuff up, don't know how to run numbers properly, and they have a lot of fallout. And that's not really a lot in our industry, but there's very little people that can have small percentages of fallout and have a larger revenue stream in wholesaling.
I agree. I mean, I don't know. I think my first full year of wholesaling, I was at like 50% contract fallout rate, and a lot of it was in Baltimore City, where we had high liens, water bills, and stuff like that. And so it's, I think a testament to how good you guys are like negotiating to where like something like that doesn't even affect you.
Yeah, Baltimore City's a hard one, man. A lot of fallout that we do have, we don't even have a lot of fallout, but the fallout that we do have is out of our, we can't, there's nothing we can do. Like $100,000 water bill in the city, like there's nothing I can really do. I mean, they can start trying to get that relief through the city and those programs, but the buck has to start with them. And most of the time, if they're selling 25 cents on a dollar, they're probably not going to take a vast initiative to go try to get $100,000 water bill off the property.
You nailed it. Another thing I wanted to like touch up on is like, we JV on deals. We're in the same market. I'm testing data that others aren't, but like essentially we're all targeting like the same people. And so like my biggest mindset shift early on was like, I don't really have competitors in this business. Everyone's like a potential collaborator. But I
Yeah.
think there's a lot of people, especially early on, that like view others as competition. When did that mindset shift occur for you, and like, how are you implementing it now in your business?
Yeah, I mean, we still have some competitors out there just because they're not open-minded with working with people. So somebody that's closed-minded like that, they're kind of direct competition. Because we always see the same people that's competing with a lot of these deals. But then we also have other people in our industry that if I'm going after a deal and they're going after a deal and we find out about each other, then behind the scenes, I'm like, hey man, I'm gonna get it at this price and I'll assign it to you. I know you want to flip it. Or like in your case, you're like, hey, I know you have a great relationship with buyers in this area. I have these two deals under contract, and then we work together. The thing that we're really good at is our dispositions has really honed in on their ability to be able to sell a deal. So we're seeing a lot of higher percentage of profit when it comes to assigning deals. I think right now we're almost in the 30,000-ish range when it comes to our average assignment deal. So
Amazing.
a lot of times wholesalers don't have good relationship with buyers or know their buyers' numbers well enough to execute a profit like that. So they're willing to take 15. Well, if I can get you 20 and I make 10, like I don't, how wouldn't that be, great for everybody? And then we build a relationship off of that.
Yeah, I mean, what I like about working with you guys always create a win-win scenario. And for me, it was like, all right, like I can get 10,000 going to a buyer that I know. But for me, it was worth testing and seeing what you guys were able to get, and we were able to get a lot more for it. So that's awesome. What is your role in your business currently?
Yeah, so I run all of acquisitions, and I run all of construction. And so every single day, me and my guys, we train. 10 a.m. right when we get in the door, we're training on something, whether it's open-ended questions or how to structure a certain situation. We listen to call recordings. Yesterday, we had a situation where somebody was facing foreclosure. They only had 25 days left until the foreclosure went into effect, where it was going to be an auction, all that stuff. And the guy still hasn't had that conversation with his wife that he's behind 7 months on the mortgage.
Well,
Yeah, he's got 3 kids. So that's a huge, it's just a big scenario. And the way we're able to lessen the blow is we were able to get our movers involved. We were able to get an offer in front of them, a fair offer where they were actually able to net some stuff and then work with our in-house agent to find that next property. So when he did deliver that message to his wife, it already looked like that he was already set up for the family to be successful instead of just coming at her with an open-ended issue that he's just been kicking down the road.
it's amazing. I think like just hearing stories like that, like would shed a better light on like the wholesaling industry as a whole, because I think a lot of like people view wholesaling as like, I don't want to say like bottom feeders, but that's kind of the reputation that we have because there's such a low barrier to entry. And like there's, anybody could get into it and just start making calls. So like it's the people that actually lead with value and like are looking to help a seller instead of trying to make a quick buck are the ones that I think need to be the loudest, need to be like on the forefront of like, hey, here's how I was able to help this seller. Not like here's this $25,000 check that I just made. Because a lot of people view that as like taking advantage of somebody, but like you said, like you were able to help them out of like a huge bind.
Right. Yeah, and we're trained. I mean, we train acquisitions to be as best as we can, but we're basically scenario trained. Our guys, we have a guy right now, he's probably a little over a month with HK, and I fundamentally believe that he's more successful to overcome a lot of real estate situations with no experience than 90% of realtors out there.
So when you're looking for an acquisitions manager or something, what is that you're looking for?
I'm looking for a people person, somebody that's able to understand that there's different characteristics of people, and then able to mirror them. We got to be able to build trust in order to build solutions. So if somebody, if I'm cold calling you out of the blue, I'm already behind because how are you going to trust me? You don't know me. I'm calling you. So you got to be able to understand a sales dynamic over the phone. It's way different than being in person because I don't get to see mannerisms or facial expressions or read the room. So we have to develop a skill over the phone in order to build trust so we can, get the solution in front of them and execute on the deal.
Are you looking for someone that has like sales experience or any like real estate experience or anything like that?
Not really. I kind of strip all of that. I mean, we have people, our best guy is my sales manager right now. He started at Target. He was at Target when he came here. We had another guy that was incarcerated. I got one that just came out of the dental field, and I had one that was in sales. I'll be honest with you, sometimes somebody that has a lot of sales experience is kind of harder to train because they've been trained wrong, and they don't know the proper doors to walk through when they present themselves. So it's kind of nice just to have somebody that was in a customer service type space that knows how to give that white glove service prior to teaching them about sales.
I agree. I think like waiters and anyone who's ever worked retail, do really well in this business. What are your thoughts on like someone who's an introvert trying to get in this business? You think it can
Yeah.
still like be successful?
I think your time is now. I think a lot of people are like that now, especially COVID had a large play in that of people, being weary of other people. With the AI technology we're seeing right now, the SMS technology that we see, I mean, people are willing to sell their house based on texts. Will you need some type of people skills? Yeah. Could you hire that out? Yeah. But I definitely think the time is now for somebody to get into real estate that maybe is not the most outgoing person.
Yeah, I agree. Um, are you guys using any AI in your business currently?
Yeah, we're kind of rolling it out slowly. We've seen some road bumps with it, but I think that we use Resimpli when it comes to our CRM, and they're slowly coming out with some new products and stuff. And it's actually kind of scary how good it is, as opposed to like just less than 4 months of where it was to what it is now is pretty is insane.
I agree. Now are you using for like follow up or like or drip campaigns? What is it?
A lot of times right now it's like after hour stuff or the weekends, our guys aren't working. So somebody's always able to answer a phone. So essentially it's an answering service right now. And then it sets an appointment up for them to be contacted either that day or the day we come back from work.
That's amazing. Where do you see your business going? So like, currently, let's say 4.5 in 2025. Uh, where do you see it in like, 26, 27, and 30?
I definitely see this being a $10 million plus company. We wanted to have proof of concept with in our marketplace, and I think we've done that pretty drastically. Less than 3 years, we're 100% um, in profit year after year. So I think that now that we've actually set the foundation here, that we can grow to other markets. I definitely see HK being a nationwide business, but doing it properly. Instead of growing wide, we're gonna go deep into the industry and just see if we can just continue to cause a difference in how we provide value to sellers. And I think that once we get into other marketplaces, we're going to see a crazy boom when it comes to growth.
And so, like, what's your strategy there? Are you just going to do it like market by market, or like you plan on doing like multiple markets at the same time?
Yeah, I think we're just kind of testing the waters on market to market. There's definitely Baltimore's a different place when it comes to people. So trying to like once you start pulling data in Atlanta or you pull data in Florida, like those people are different. You have to fight to stay on the phone with people in Baltimore. In places like Florida, you might have a 50-minute conversation about nothing to do with a house, just because that's how those people are. So trying to figure out what market fits our guys and our training abilities so we can then grow from there and then get better. But I can't have guys on the phone for 45 minutes talking about things that have nothing to do with the house. So we're learning as we go. And then some places, they're not, you can't even see comps. So we're learning all of that. But I definitely think that we should hit a southern market and then hit like a West Coast market and then just kind of be like fill in between until we get back to Maryland.
Do you plan on like partnering up with any locals to try to learn the market quicker, or is it more so just trial and error?
Yeah, the fillers we have out there right now are just people that we've met in the mentor groups that we've been in. Yeah, their strategy is way different than ours. When I say that, it's like their purchase price to ARV is way different. They don't need $100,000+ spread for it to make sense because closing costs are less and realtors are willing to take less and they have more access to blue collar workers. So therefore their pricing is a lot better on renovations. So those are the things that we're learning right now. So that way we're competitive when we're making offers. Because if we just run off the calculators we built out for Baltimore, we will be our offers wouldn't even be competitive at all just because their holding costs and their renovation costs and stuff are so much less.
That's interesting. I didn't even think about like the renovation costs and everything, and closing costs. And so how do you adjust your calculator? Like, so you have like a Florida calculator and like you have like different percentages for the closing costs and then renovation costs are just different. Like, how do you do that?
Yeah, so it's very easy. You guys can holler at me if you want to. We'll send a calculator out that we've built out over time. It's very easy. There's like the whole thing's built out. Most of the time it has hard money lenders in there, so that way most people are buying with hard money lenders. So it breaks down everything to if you hold it for 3 months, 4 months, 5, 6, 7 months, you know exactly what you're paying your lenders, you know what your holding costs are, things like that. So we just have to adjust a little bit, like just a small percentage off of the closing cost, and then consolidate the renovation cost. That's kind of the thing that we're getting into now is me and Daniel, we know our renovations very well. So how do you teach that to, an acquisitions manager that has no construction experience? So I think that it's going to have to be like a square footage thing. Like if it's 1,200 square foot and it's a split for your house, then this is the price. But yeah, that's the speed bumps that we're running into too. But luckily we're able to see the street view of the house and we know, okay, we've flipped 40 of those houses. We know that the construction budget's 60 grand.
It's amazing. Now what do you feel is like has been like your biggest like superpower along the way to like get you to where you are and like even like take you to like the next step?
Definitely sales. I didn't realize I was a really good salesperson. I knew I was really good with people. And I always had like the highest, well, on my job sites, like the highest customer appreciation and the highest scores, and taking over job sites that were very bad, and increasing the quality and getting better scores when it comes to the clientele. And all that has to do with sales. I mean, I even run back to like scenarios when I was growing up young and just seeing like how my mom moved or how my grandfather moved as like either salespeople or entrepreneurs, and kind of seeing like, wow, the gift of gab was kind of given to me natural. And then knowing that you can actually apply these tactics and the psychology of sales to a sales team and see it do wonders compared to the competitors that are out there, that aren't proficient when it comes to sales.
Now, being good at sales and like training people to be good at sales, like completely different skill set. How did you learn to like train people to like have that skill set?
Yeah, it's crazy to see the difference in, like, I call it swag, but the difference in personality types that my team has. Like, they have a script, they have we Wednesdays we go over objections. We get about 10, 12 objections in this entire industry, and all of my guys answer it exactly the same, but everybody's call sounds completely different. So yeah, they're structured and they have a guide, is what we call it, instead of a script, because they can add their own flow to it over time. But you listen to Mark's call versus Clayton's call, you're going to get two different salespeople, but you're going to get the same outcome. So I think the outcome is what we're actually looking for. We want proper conditions. We want the rapport to be built. We want you to build trust. Is the motivation to sell even there? Like, are we on the phone with them for no reason? Are we underwriting the deal for no reason? Are they want me to appraise the deal, or do they actually want to sell the deal? So those are boxes that we have to check. So they could take it any way they want to, as long as they're checking those boxes and they're finding the correct motivators.
Are you still hopping on sales calls yourself?
Yeah, yeah. So Mark's closing a majority of them now. We got a couple problem child, deals that are out there, and I'll hop on. Or if we got like this month, we got 22 offers out so far. And so we're tracking conversion rates, and we're realizing like, okay, we got to get some people to sign. So I'll hop on the phone just to make sure, we're crossing all the T's and dotting I's when it comes to signing. And yeah, so it's basically I'll hop in when I need to. If I don't need to, then that means we're doing a good job as leaders.
That's awesome. Yeah, I've seen the growth of your sales team, even like just talking to a couple of your guys. Like, I mean, none of them have any like sales experience or that background. So to see like what you've kind of molded them into has been like a cool transition.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely cool to watch.
now, are you guys fully remote as far as like when you're locking stuff up, or do you guys go out to appointments too?
No, we try to stay away from appointments. I mean, there's that one where, they don't feel comfortable unless you're walking the house with them. We'll go on that appointment, but I would say about 95% of the deals that we do get are just completely remote.
I mean, I think for a lot of people to hear that, it's kind of like mind-boggling. So like how are you able to do that compared to even like someone who goes and meets them in person?
Yeah, because I think that we're structured. We sound like professionals on the phone, and we're asking the same questions that you would ask standing in the living room. And then they're walking us through the house. So I think it actually does the opposite. It builds a trust factor. Hey, Miss Susan, I'm trusting you to tell me the proper conditions of this property in order for me to get you an offer that should make you happy at the end of this call. I think that once we show that we're able to drop our guard and trust them with answering questions truthfully, then they know, in return, we kind of get the same respect. We also position it as we buy, 20 properties a month. If somebody has to go out and stand in your living room in Dundalk in a row house, they probably don't buy a lot of properties because they're the same exact house in that entire area. So if they don't know their numbers, then why would you want to do something with somebody that seems like an amateur in this industry?
I think a lot of times because people get blinded by the difference in price. So like, you have these newbies that'll offer, $30,000 more than you can offer. So yeah, obviously someone's going to go with them if like they're driven by price. But I think once they have like a bad experience with them, going with someone like you makes sense. So do you guys like follow up with the deals that you guys lose?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, follow up is the name of the game. There's all your money's in the follow up, where they say fortunes in the follow up, I think. But yeah, definitely. We know for a fact they're not going to go through. They're probably going to have a built-in extension. We're going to have to follow up with this bad boy for 60 days before the seller realizes that they're not going to sell the property at that price point. But the beauty of it is we've stuck to the same price point the entire time. So once it gets to that 59th day, we're just saying, hey, listen, we've been transparent the entire time. We haven't went up in price. We haven't went down in price. We've been literally an open book the whole time. Now, could I lie to you and make you feel good right now about signing a contract and then make you upset in the future? Yeah, but we don't want to do that. You'd be shocked too of how many referrals we get as a wholesale company. All of our guys are taught to once a house does settle, that give it about a couple of weeks and then circle back around and ask them how everything went and how are they doing, and if they have any friends or family that need us. And you'd be shocked how many people are in the same situation as their friends and family. And we've gotten 3 to 4 referrals off a single person.
That's crazy. Yeah, I think that's just like a testament to the fact that you guys aren't transactional. It's funny that you say it. I actually just had dinner the other day with a lady who we bought her and her husband's place like 3 years ago in Ellicott City. And unfortunately her husband's like passed away now, but like she's kind of been like a de facto like grandmother to like my kids. Like, they've met her several times, and like,
That's
we'll go
cool.
out to eat with her. And like, I think just that relationship just shows that like, it's not just a transaction to us, that we're actually here. We care about the people. So it's cool you guys do that. And I'm glad you guys are getting a lot of fruit from your labor.
Yeah, I mean, our guys are taught 80% is the person, the 20% is the house. So I see a lot of people that compete with us that just want to talk about 4 walls and a roof. And they're not getting anywhere with it. They're not building the trust. They're not building the rapport. They're not actually listening to the situation. Like at the end of the day, the person doesn't want to sell their house, but that situation has made them have to sell the house. So if we don't have a product we're selling, but we have a solution that we're selling. So if we can become the bridge to help them gap that work, probably the worst part of what's happened in their life financially. If we can become the bridge to help that's where the value is.
Yeah, I agree. What do you feel is like the biggest like disruptor or like potential disruptor in this business going forward? Like, is it going to be like the laws and the policies against it, or do you think AI is going to be like a bigger disruptor?
I don't. I think it's going to be us in the industry. You got good in the industry, you got bad in the industry. I would say 1 in 3 people we're talking to, they're being offered too much money for their property. And then the person that's offering them too much money has every intention of dropping them price wise before settlement. And I think that is going to sound the alarms for, you know, our government to get involved for bad things to happen, because that's just not the idea or the ideal way of doing business. Knowing, locking somebody up and then dropping them 2 days before settlement because you have leverage to do so and they financially can't say no is absolutely ridiculous.
Agreed. I think between that and people who are making offers to properties that are listed, getting them under contract and then not settling, it's a huge pet peeve of mine. I have couple wholesalers who I guess have been taught like that's the way. If you don't have any money, then just make a bunch of offers to properties listed. But the thing that sucks about that is like if a property's listed, goes under contract and then falls out of contract, that property now has a black eye. So you're screwing that seller even more so because now people are wondering why it's falling out of contract.
Yeah, 100%. And then you got other people that are involved too. Like, what about the title companies that are consistently running title work on your deals and then they're falling out? Like, where they got to pay their people. Like, I'm shocked that title companies haven't sent invoices to bad wholesalers about 50 properties.
Yeah, and I'm wondering if it's because like they either use different companies each time or because they do settle every now and then. But yeah, I didn't think about that, man. It's awful. Um, all right, let me be selfish for a minute here. You guys are a huge client of mine. What kind of success have you guys had with our data?
Dude, the data suite. I think what I like more than the data is that the experience. I think it's cool that we can do this with somebody that's providing a service to us that makes our business run. Like without your data, without you, without Pinpoint Skip, literally this thing doesn't operate. So it's a big kudos to you. It's cool to see like where you started to where you're at now and how the journey's changed. but changed for so much better. And then I think that you don't 100% realize how many people you're helping. You feed my family, you feed Daniel's family, you feed my people's family, you keep the lights on in this place. And that's just simply by giving us the data to be able to do what we do.
Yeah, I appreciate that, man. Definitely gonna have my video guy clip that, and I'm using that as a testimonial from here on out. So thanks, man. How do you guys use the data as far as like what type of marketing methods you guys do?
So that's definitely a Daniel question. Daniel's a beast. I mean, we're arriving almost too early when it comes to marketing. There's a gray area in this thing. I mean, when they inherit houses or people pass away, people pull their information to try to buy the property, and we happen to be one of those people. So I think we're pulling data so frequently and so fast and using great data that we arrive before situations even get to play out. They're like, oh, he died like 3 weeks ago. How are you, like, how are you already calling me? Um, is it bad? Yeah. But is it a good problem to have? Yes, because we're arriving first at the party.
Yeah, I mean, being first movers there and just, arriving with like sympathy and just wanting to come from like a place of like, hey, I'll help you navigate through this tricky situation that you've never been through before because like we've done it so many times. Just it's invaluable to the person. And I know like sometimes it may rub people the wrong way, but like if you come from a place of compassion, like I think the follow up is where like you can win them back.
Yeah. I know we shied away a lot from SMS just because all the regulations that are coming down.
Same.
People cold calling. I don't think cold call. Everybody says cold calling's dying. I just will never believe that. So cool. We got cold call. We got PPC, PPL, commercial. We just fired up a commercial. We did radio for a little bit. That's crazy expensive, and we just didn't see an ROI. We were about breaking even, so we didn't really see a huge ROI from that. But we dabble in a lot of everything and just kind of see what sticks. And then when it sticks, we throw a lot of money at it.
That's awesome. So how long are you testing something new before deciding to stick with it?
Yeah, it all depends on that price point. I mean, it's probably 6 months or greater. We've been dealing with pretty much everything that I just named, and throwing more and more money at it. I think that we're also understanding that if we want to grow, that let's say PPC is not as strong here, which is just a hypothetical, but let's say PPC is not as strong here, but it's going to be crazy strong in Texas. We can't just all of a sudden do away with it because we're probably going to need to be very good at it and understand everything that's involved in it once we go to another market.
I agree. It's smart. All right, you're, I don't want to say a new dad, but semi-new. Your daughter is about the same age as mine, 2 years old, right?
Yeah, too. Yep.
All right. What do you plan on teaching her as far as like entrepreneurship or real estate investing?
Yeah, I mean, it's cool in my household because my wife's very education based. She's a teacher, honor roll student, dean's list, so she's very book smart. I come from a different world where we none of us, nobody in my family has a college education. Maybe a couple cousins, but it's all common sense related, street smarts, understanding like how to move quickly, and it's different. So she's gonna have an interesting way of coming up because she's very, very, very smart, way smarter than I'm gonna be. But she's also gonna have the best of both worlds. So it's gonna be interesting. I don't know. So we'll see.
Have you started taking her like any like projects or anything like that?
No, not yet. She's at that age, man, where she's just kind of into everything. So my wife's great, man. She handles all of that right now. Um, I'm finally at that point, like as a dad, that now I can be more involved because they're able to do things that they actually need me to help in. Like when she's younger, you're just kind of sitting there with your hands, like, I don't know what you want me to do. Like she's hungry, but I don't have breasts. Like, there's just things that you can't help with, but you could just be there to support. But now we're kind of in the fun realm where she's like associates dad with fun. And so we're always just, chopping up and having a great time.
Yeah, I can hear my kid upstairs right now, just wrecking the house. It's a fun age for sure, but they're terrors. All right, this is a question I always ask everyone. I feel like in real estate deal with like the lowest of the low when it comes like I don't want to say humanity, but awful situations or like crazy stories. What's your craziest real estate story?
Man, I got a lot of them. I'll tell you one. Well, one just left our office, that's for sure. Trust fund kid, very much so on drugs. Um, Overcoming those things is crazy. it's funny because we got a new hire, and so I think she's like, "Oh my God, like this is crazy." We had one the beginning or the end of last year. Um, his name was Ronnie and George, and they wanted to buy a RV. They inherited their parents' house. They wanted to buy an RV and they wanted to travel the world. Um, turns out the RV was not an RV. They were into drugs very heavily. And so we went to settlement. The notary went to their house. The one brother was keeping the other brother's head off of the table because they're nodding off as they're signing. And as soon as that check was there, the person that was the RV dealer was sitting on the couch, and it ended up being their drug dealer that was going to the bank with them to get the money that they have owed her the entire time. So very interesting.
Fun. Awesome.
Yeah, we're like,
All
we're
right.
like, what kind of RV are you getting? And the drug dealer's looking like, what are you talking about? And
That's crazy. All right. What advice would you give to someone who's trying to crack into this business, from a sales perspective? Because I know that's your like main forte.
yeah, I would say we didn't get a deal for the first 3 months when we started pulling data. You just got to let them play out. If somebody says they want to sell in 4 months, the chances of them selling in 4 months are pretty good. So you just got to trust that. You got to be organized. You got to have a calendar. We have multiple ways of tracking things outside of our CRM, just to make sure everybody's being followed up with. So don't lose or get disinterested in the industry because you're not getting a deal within the first 2 to 3 months. It's just you got to let the process play out, and you got to trust the people because no one's gonna one call close. Very, very rare. And then you being able to get the deals that want to be locked up and settled in less than 2 weeks are very slim because people are spending a lot of money to get those leads. So you're just going to have to play it out and grind it out, and then you're going to start seeing things start happening.
Yeah, I completely agree. Obviously the follow up is everything. I almost feel like those first like 2 or 3 months is going to determine like if someone's going to be successful in this business because of the fact that like you're dealing with a lot of rejection, you're getting your teeth kicked in daily. So it's tough business to crack into. But because of the fact that there's such a low barrier of entry that like anybody can do it, it's just a matter of like whether you're going to be successful or not. So that's awesome wisdom, man. Yeah, appreciate it.
Yeah. I mean, one thing I am seeing is I think that the industry is going to change instead of like wholesalers, low barrier of entry. Now it's just going to be people that are trying to JV with wholesalers and claim that they have buyers. We're seeing a lot of those companies pop up now. And it's like you don't have any experience to be able to take someone like, let's say I spend $30,000 a month on my leads, and I need at least 4 or 5 deals in order to keep my business going. And then I trust you because you have a good sales pitch that you have buyers, but it turns out you don't. You're just trying to, find low-hanging fruit. So I think that we got to be weary as wholesalers that, sellers lie, but then there's other people that actually want to JV and partner, and they don't have your best interest in mind either. So I think that we should all listen to each other a little bit. Like if somebody's going to recommend Pinpoint, I'm only recommending people that I've used and I've established a relationship with, and I know that they're going to do what they say they're going to do. I see a lot of people in our industry, they're quick to recommend somebody and they've never even used the person. It's just
Yep.
purely based on friendship, and I think that's dangerous.
I completely agree. Or even like that they've seen their name in like a Facebook group or something like that.
Yeah.
Um, but that is interesting. So like what are your thoughts on like these essentially dispo companies? Like they don't do any like marketing of their own or anything like that. They're literally just like taking other people's like I don't want to say hard worked leads and like money that they spent. Like, what are your thoughts on that?
Man, I know a couple of them. They're bigger companies. Some of them are even small companies, but they just don't. They know that they're going to have very, very, very high fallout. They're not shy to let you know that hey, this deal's not going to work out. Sorry. After they've tied you up for 3 weeks, they're marketing the deals way higher than what normal investors can pay. So they're obviously taking advantage of somebody. And if you're taking advantage of that buyer at the end buyer, they're probably not going to turn around and buy from you again. So
Agreed.
I think that just trusting a dispo company to dispo your deals without knowing that they have a proven track record could definitely crumble your business very quickly.
One thing that you've talked about on social media is like everything in this business can be learned, and it's a skill set that you have to invest in. And dispo is a skill set as well as like sales and stuff like that. So like a lot of these wholesalers, instead of like relying on someone else to dispo their deals, they could just learn that skill set. So like, how do you recommend that someone like learn a skill set like sales or dispo?
Yeah, I mean, I would say go to events and stuff like that, but there's very small percentage of events now that actually are structured towards real estate. Like when you go there, no one's talking about real estate. It's just people's green light to go out and drink and have a good time and not actually talk business. That's why you don't really see me at a lot of events, and the ones you do see me at is because I trust the people that are running it. And I'm going to go there and not be away from my family to actually conduct some type of business. So I think finding those people that are actually willing to help you grow in business and have established their success, start mentoring those people, asking them their advice, asking who their go-to sellers are and those zip codes. Man, at no point would somebody call me and be like, "Hey, I got a property in 21223. Do you have any good buyers?" For if dude, if you were a buyer there, I would say, yeah, go to my boy. Um, the fact that people aren't willing to do that, it's a testament to their character. I think that we should all be more cohesive in our market. If you go to other markets like big coaches and mentors, we go to the different markets. We went out to Ohio and everybody works together. Everybody knows where certain people buy at. And if it's not in their buy box, and they're instantly calling that person that it is in their buy box, and they're all working together. And there's so much more success if you actually look at Ohio, like Cleveland area, it's booming. And it's booming because everybody's willing to work together instead of just like having this weird competition with each other when it's not really competition.
Agreed. And I think in this business, like the shady people like weed themselves out. Especially a market that's small like Baltimore. Like as big as a city as it is, like everyone knows everyone. So like when someone gets screwed over, like everyone hears about it. And that's kind of like my favorite part about this business. Like we kind of weed each other out and look out for each other. So it's cool.
I'm the first
Um,
one to call those people out. So
huh?
I'm the first one to call those people out.
That's why I like it, man. All right, cool. I appreciate your time, man. This has been a huge resource to people who are just starting off. So I appreciate you always giving back. How do people reach out to you?
Instagram, I would lie to you if I knew it off the top of my head. So let me pull it up real quick. Facebook, Instagram, it's Wesley Knightstep on Facebook. Instagram is house_flipper_Wes. And then message me. I'll be happy to give people my number if they're bringing some type of value to me. I could also bring some value to you.
Nice. Reach out to them if you have any deals that you're having trouble getting rid of. Once again, Wes, I appreciate your help, man.
All right, appreciate you, brother.
All right, talk soon. Later, man.